It's a pleasure to have a good friend, colleague, and firm leader joining us today, Matt Barr. Matt is one of the co-chairs of Weil's world-renowned Restructuring Department and a long-standing member of the Management Committee. Thank you so much for joining me today, Matt.
Thanks for having me, Barry.
I've had the pleasure of talking now with many partners from your department, and I find it fascinating the many different reasons and paths that have brought people to Weil's restructuring team. Can you start off by going back in time a bit and telling me how you ended up choosing the law and ultimately the restructuring field?
Sure. So you may or may not know, but my father is a lawyer. My mother's father is a lawyer and a judge. And my father's father was a deputy sheriff. So law has kind of been around my family.
So you were going to go to medical school.
Exactly. To the chagrin of my mother, I almost did. So law was always something I was going to do. Whether I ultimately practiced law, I was unsure. I was always going to go to law school. I think it teaches you how to read, write, think differently, and prepare you for almost anything in life. So whether I was going to actually practice law for a long time or be a businessman was still up in the air. But law was always something I was going to study. That's probably the reason why that is the reason why I went to law school. And then the reason why I stayed with the law is I actually love it.
And in the restructuring arena, you get to act as a lawyer and somewhat as a business advisor as well.
Yeah, if I didn't do restructuring law, I don't know exactly what I would do, because if I didn't do, as I said, law, I would own businesses. I learn about businesses more as a restructuring lawyer than I ever imagined. I should not know there were 5 lines of women's apparel, right? But I represented a women's apparel company, so I understand that.
Now, Matt, you've been at Weil for more than a decade now, but you also had a very successful career as a restructuring partner at another top firm. So I'm really interested in hearing your thoughts on what differentiates Weil in the practice of law and what has kept you here thriving for so many years as a member of firm leadership.
Yeah, Weil's really special, and I don't say that as like cliche-ish. When you and I talked 11 plus years ago,
I remember it well.
You and others were selling a concept of a Weil family, of a culture of people working together and being collaborative and wanting to make each other better. I didn't really buy it when you were selling it at the time.
Most people don't. I know that most people doubt what I say when I'm saying that.
But it's absolutely true. It is a place where you wake up every day wanting it to make it better, wanting to make the people around you better, and knowing that the people around you want to make you and the firm better. And that's different. That's really different from a lot of other places. And it makes it really special. And when you have a group of really smart, eager, a lot of type A personalities, but they're rowing together, that makes it different.
No, and it's interesting you say that, because as a lifer here, I've always felt that this is a special place to practice law. And it's been amazing to see you join and so quickly become part of the cultural fabric of the firm. We're now in the second quarter of 2026. So I'd like your perspective on the year and what emerging issues or opportunities you're seeing for clients in the restructuring or restructuring adjacent space for the rest of the year and beyond.
Yeah, it's easy to say LME because everybody says LME, and LME is busy because it's a product. It's an option for companies, but that's not what I'm going to focus on. I will say, if I could predict exactly what's going to happen, you and I would be playing golf right now on my Caribbean island. But that's a different story. But people are really concerned about software. AI is changing everything, and people are concerned not about the businesses that it ultimately affects or the staff that it will reduce, but all the software companies that have tremendous funding from VC or somebody else that are going to be obsolete. And what do you do with those? Are they something you can roll into something else? Do they go out of business? So software is a theme this year. Petroleum and chemicals is a theme this year, probably into next year. Depending on what happens in the Middle East controversy, petroleum is something that people are focused on.
And it's interesting with software, which seems to be creating quite a stir in the private credit market, given how much money has been lent to software companies in private credit. So one of the great aspects of your department is that your practice intersects with corporate, litigation, and tax and executive comp areas. So I'm curious how that cross-pollination has informed or helped in your overall practice management and in your firm leadership roles.
Yeah, that's a great question because there's so many people out there that think you can create a company-side law firm practice by hiring a debtor lawyer. You can't. You need the people in tax that understand, in litigation that understand, in corporate and finance. You can go on and on and on. And you can't do your job as a company-side lawyer without all of those people. So Weil is, again, special in, I bet you still can't find a lawyer at Weil that hasn't touched some type of restructuring in their career.
I have.
And that, in and of itself, provides, an atmosphere that everybody understands what everybody else is doing. And what we do is very nuanced, and you need all those people to understand the nuance. So it's been fantastic. And again, I'm here almost 11 years now. It's been fantastic knowing that I could pick up the phone and find a finance lawyer that actually understands what I'm talking about, or a tax lawyer. And it's a better product for our client. It's more efficient. It gets us to be innovative and think differently. And it really permeates throughout the entire firm.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say in terms of innovating things because our department has created most, if not all, of the innovations in the restructuring and LME space. So it's nice that you say that, which is just creative people, brilliant people working together to come up with great solutions for our clients. Very well put. These podcasts always showcase people's individual styles and personalities. But I'd like to ask you to tell me a little bit about your personal approach to leadership and mentorship. We have seen such a strong crop of new talented partners under your watch. How do you cultivate talent and motivate the associate and counsel classes and even the new partner classes?
Yeah, you may or may not know this about me, but I'm a huge Abraham Lincoln fan. And Abraham Lincoln led by getting out into the field, by being next to the soldiers as they were fighting and asking them, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? What can we do better? Give me your ideas. Whether he agreed with the ideas or not, it didn't matter. He took their views into account, and they felt like they were a partner. And I'm a big believer in if you can handle it, you're going to get it plus 10%, so you grow. And listening and pushing people into the spotlight and giving them the opportunity. And I think people know that. I'm not the guy that needs to be pushed into the front. I'm the guy that wants the person sitting next to me that wants it. And creating that attitude and atmosphere around me, I think has led a lot of these brilliant, young, hungry people who want the opportunity that sometimes don't get it to take it.
Yeah, and I think they take it and it really comforts them knowing that you have their back if they need it. You're putting them out front, but you are that lifeboat back there when they have that question, when they need to consult to make that judgment call. Knowing that you have their back enables them to sort of do it without, in most cases, having to call you. Well, those are really important attributes for a leader to have, and I've only heard extremely positive things about your leadership and mentoring style here at Weil. I'd like to round out the conversation by asking you something a little bit more open-ended, which is who is a leader outside of the legal industry that you admire and why?
Yeah, I mean, besides Abraham Lincoln, who really I have read a lot about, and his leadership style, which has led me to, and being honest, honesty and integrity in your name are the most important things. I would say, and you may find this a little weird, you, my dad, I guess you're both in the legal profession, so maybe that's, but people that care, but that people that also can make decisions, people that people believe in, is really important to me.
I'd rather focus on your dad than focus on me, but I admire that. So that's always very nice to hear when it's a relative, and it's nice to hear. So we're going to change it up a little bit, and we're going to go through like a lightning round where I ask you just questions, and whatever comes to the top of your mind, just shoot it back.
Great.
What's your go-to cuisine for a takeout dinner?
Oh gosh, Greek or Chinese, probably a Thai. If I went on my DoorDash, they're probably pretty similar the amount of times I ordered them.
Okay. If you had not chosen law, what would you be doing right now?
You know, I joke with saying that I would be shagging golf balls at a driving range, but
Hopefully, you'd be hitting them on a professional circuit.
no, I don't know about that. But I would own a business, if not multiple businesses.
What's your favorite vacation spot, the so-called happy place?
Yeah, so Italy is my favorite vacation spot, but my happy place is Kiowa Island, South Carolina.
Been there, and I understand why. What's a personal or professional pet peeve?
Typos. When my kids, my wife, it just drove my wife crazy. My kids would bring stuff home from school when they were younger, and she would find it marked up on the table. And she would say, Matt, what are you doing? I'm like, these people are teaching our kids. Look at these typos. And that's just something that jumps out at me.
It shows a lack of care. Yeah. And that, I think that's what typos represent. What celebrity would play you in your biopic?
Yeah, I think Brad Pitt and Leonardo would fight over it with a lot of makeup. Okay. They would need a lot of makeup.
What's the best advice you've ever received from a mentor?
Your name and integrity are the most important things, and you can control them, and never do anything to lose those.
What was your favorite high school extracurricular activity?
You may find this weird, DJing and playing golf.
DJing would be great. I like singing.
We should do something. Maybe we can use the mics after.
Yes.
Tape that for everybody.
What was your favorite TV show as a teenager?
Probably Happy Days, or I forgot the name of it now. Hill Blues.
Hill Street Blues.
Hill Street Blues, yeah.
Okay. What is a bucket list item that you've yet to accomplish?
Speaking another language.
Give me one song from your Desert Island playlist.
Scenario by Tribe Called Quest.
Wow. Well, thank you for coming down here. This has been a lot of fun, as I expected it would be. So thank you.
Thank you.